The Buddha's life, 45 years of teaching. His teachings, always practical, include lessons in basic good manners. And how is a monk one with a sense of social gatherings? There is the case where a monk knows his social gathering. This is a social gathering of noble warriors. This, a social gathering of brahmans. This, a social gathering of householders. This, a social gathering of contemplatives. Here one should approach them in this way, stand in this way, act in this way, sit in this way, speak in this way, stay silent in this way. If he didn't know his social gathering, this is a social gathering of noble warriors. This, a social gathering of brahmans. This, a social gathering of householders. This, a social gathering of contemplatives. Here, one should approach them in this way, stand in this way, act in this way, sit in this way, speak in this way, stay silent in this way. He wouldn't be said to be one with a sense of social gatherings. So it's because he does know his social gathering. This is a social gathering of noble warriors. This, a social gathering of brahmans. This, a social gathering of householders. This, a social gathering of contemplatives. Here, one should approach them in this way, stand in this way, act in this way, sit in this way, speak in this way, stay silent in this way, that he is said to be one with a sense of social gatherings. This is one with a sense of Dhamma, a sense of meaning, a sense of himself, a sense of moderation, a sense of time, and a sense of social gatherings. And 7.64, lessons in how to treat one's parents. Support for one's parents, assistance to one's wife and children, consistency in one's work. This is the highest protection. Sen 2.4, mother and father, compassionate to their family, are called. Brahma, first teachers, those worthy of gifts, from their children. So the wise should pay them homage, honor, with food and drink, clothing and bedding, anointing and bathing, and washing their feet. Performing these services to their parents, the wise, are praised right here, and after death, rejoice in heaven. ITI 106. Lessons on the value of generosity. And what is the treasure of generosity? There is the case of a disciple of the noble ones, his awareness cleansed of the stain of stinginess, living at home, freely generous, open-handed, delighting in being magnanimous, responsive to requests, delighting in the distribution of alms. This is called the treasure of generosity. And 7.6. Lessons on the value of virtue. And what is the treasure of virtue? There is the case where a disciple of the noble ones abstains from taking life, abstains from stealing, abstains from illicit sexual conduct, abstains from lying, abstains from taking intoxicants that cause heedlessness. This, monks, is called the treasure of virtue. And 7.6. Lessons on the fruits of virtuous conduct. With mind rightly directed, speaking right speech, doing right deeds with the body, a person here, of much learning, a doer of merit. Here in this life so short and at the breakup of the body, discerning reappears in heaven. ITI 71. Lessons on the drawbacks of all sensual pleasures, even heavenly one. There is the case where a person, being subject himself to aging, realizing the drawbacks of what is subject to aging, seeks the unaging, unsurpassed rest from the yoke, unbinding. Being subject himself to illness, realizing the drawbacks of what is subject to illness, he seeks the unailing, unsurpassed rest from the yoke, unbinding. Being subject himself to death, realizing the drawbacks of what is subject to death, he seeks the undying, unsurpassed rest from the yoke, unbinding. Being subject himself to defilement, realizing the drawbacks of what is subject to defilement, he seeks the undefiled, unsurpassed rest from the yoke, unbinding. And 4.252. Lessons on the value of renunciation. Having seen the drawback of sensual pleasures, I pursued that theme. Having understood the reward of renunciation, I familiarized myself with it. My heart leaped up at renunciation, grew confident, steadfast, and firm, seeing it as peace. Then, quite withdrawn from sensuality, withdrawn from unskillful qualities, I entered and remained in the first jhana, rapture and pleasure born from withdrawal, accompanied by directed thought and evaluation. And 941. Lesson on the Four Noble Truths. Bhikkhus, it is through not realizing, through not penetrating the Four Noble Truths that this long course of birth and death has been passed through and undergone by me as well as by you. What are these four? They are the noble truth of dukkha, the noble truth of the origin of dukkha, the noble truth of the cessation of dukkha, and the noble truth of the way to the cessation of dukkha. But now, bhikkhus, that these have been realized and penetrated, cut off is the craving for existence, destroyed is that which leads to renewed becoming, and there is no fresh becoming. DN 16. In short, the Buddha teaches how to realize true and lasting happiness, nibbana. There is that dimension where there is neither earth, nor water, nor fire, nor wind, neither dimension of the infinitude of space, nor dimension of the infinitude of consciousness, nor dimension of nothingness, nor dimension of neither perception nor non-perception, neither this world nor the next world, nor sun nor moon. And there, I say, there is neither coming nor going nor stasis, neither passing away nor arising, without stance, without foundation, without support, mental object. This, just this, is the end of stress, dukkha. UD 8.1. Both formerly and now it is only stress, dukkha, that I describe, and the cessation of stress. SN 2286. The Buddha is one of a kind. As he was sitting there, Moggallana the guardsman said to Ven, Ananda, Master Ananda, is there any one monk endowed in each and every way with the qualities with which Master Gautama, worthy and rightly self-awakened, was endowed? No, Brahman, there isn't any one monk endowed in each and every way with the qualities with which the Blessed One, worthy and rightly self-awakened, was endowed. For the Blessed One was the arouser of the unarisen path, the begetter of the unbegotten path, the expounder of the unexpounded path, the knower of the path, the expert with regard to the path, adept at the path. And now his disciples follow the path and become endowed with it after him. MN 108. And his reputation spreads. A monk called Gautama, it seems, a son of the Sakyans who went forth from a Sakyan clan, has been wandering in the Kosalan country with a large sangha of bhikkhus and has come to Sala. Now, a good report of Master Gautama has been spread to this effect. That Blessed One is such since he is arahant and fully enlightened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime, knower of worlds, incomparable teacher of men to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened, blessed. He describes this world with its gods, its maras, and its Brahma divinities, this generation with its monks and Brahmins, with its kings and its people, which he has himself realized through direct knowledge. He teaches a Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end with the right meaning and phrasing. He affirms a holy life that is utterly perfect and pure. Now it is good to see such arahants. Men 41. He travels widely, teaching people from every caste and from all walks of life. I recall having approached many hundred assemblies of nobles, many hundred assemblies of brahmans, many hundred assemblies of householders, many hundred assemblies of recluses, MN 12, including lay followers. At one time, the Lord was staying near Savatthi in the Jeta Grove at Anathapindika's monastery. Now, the lay follower Dhammika, with 500 other lay followers, approached the Lord. Having drawn near and saluted the Lord respectfully, he sat down at one side. Sitting there, the lay follower Dhammika addressed the Lord. Sen 2:14. Diga Janu, Long Shin. He also went by the name of Tiger Paw. The Kolyan went to the Blessed One, and on arrival, having bowed down to the Blessed One, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he said to the Blessed One, "We are lay people enjoying sensuality, living crowded with spouses and children, using kasi fabrics and sandalwood, wearing garlands, scents and creams, handling gold and silver. May the Blessed One teach the Dhamma for those like us, for our happiness and well-being in this life, and for our happiness and well-being in lives to come." The Blessed One said, "There are these 4 qualities, Tiger Paw, that lead to a layperson's happiness and well-being in this life." Which 4? Being consummate in initiative, being consummate in vigilance, admirable friendship, and maintaining one's livelihood in tune. And what does it mean to be consummate in initiative? There is the case where a layperson, by whatever occupation he makes his living, whether by farming, trading, cattle tending, archery, as a king's man, or by any other craft, is clever and untiring at it, endowed with discrimination in its techniques, enough to arrange and carry it out. This is called being consummate in initiative. And what does it mean to be consummate in vigilance? There is the case when a layperson has righteous wealth, righteously gained, coming from his initiative, his striving, his making an effort, gathered by the strength of his arm, earned by his sweat, and he manages to protect it through vigilance, thinking, "How shall neither kings nor thieves make off with this property of mine, nor fire burn it, nor water sweep it away, nor hateful airs take it?" This is called being consummate in vigilance. And what is meant by admirable friendship? There is the case where a layperson, in whatever town or village he may dwell, spends time with householders or householders' sons, young or old, who are advanced in virtue. He talks with them and engages them in discussions. He emulates consummate conviction in those who are consummate in conviction, consummate virtue in those who are consummate in virtue, consummate generosity in those who are consummate in generosity, and consummate discernment in those who are consummate in discernment. This is called admirable friendship. And what does it mean to maintain one's livelihood in tune? There is the case where a layperson, knowing the income and outflow of his wealth, maintains a livelihood in tune, neither a spendthrift nor a penny pincher, thinking, "Thus will my income exceed my outflow, and my outflow will not exceed my income." Just as when a weigher or his apprentice, when holding the scales, knows, "It has tipped down so much or has tipped up so much," in the same way, the layperson, knowing the income and outflow of his wealth, maintains a livelihood in tune, neither a spendthrift nor a penny pincher, thinking, "Thus will my income exceed my outflow, and my outflow will not exceed my income." If a layperson has a small income but maintains a grand lifestyle, it will be rumored of him, "This clansman devours his wealth like a fruit tree eater." Commentary: one who shakes more fruit off a tree than he can possibly eat. If a layperson has a large income but maintains a miserable livelihood, it will be rumored of him, "This clansman will die of starvation." But when a layperson, knowing the income and outflow of his wealth, maintains a livelihood in tune, neither a spendthrift nor a penny pincher, thinking, "Thus will my income exceed my outflow, and my outflow will not exceed my income." This is called maintaining one's livelihood in tune. These are the four drains on one store of wealth: debauchery in sex, debauchery in drink, debauchery in gambling, and evil friendship, evil companionship, evil camaraderie. Just as if there were a great reservoir with four inlets and four drains, and a man were to close the inlets and open the drains, and the sky were not to pour down proper showers, the depletion of that great reservoir could be expected, not its increase. In the same way, these are the four drains on one store of wealth: debauchery in sex, debauchery in drink, debauchery in gambling, and evil friendship, evil companionship, evil camaraderie. These are the four inlets to one store of wealth: no debauchery in sex, no debauchery in drink, no debauchery in gambling, and admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie. Just as if there were a great reservoir with four inlets and four drains, and a man were to open the inlets and close the drains, and the sky were to pour down proper showers, the increase of that great reservoir could be expected, not its depletion. In the same way, these are the four inlets to one store of wealth: no debauchery in sex, no debauchery in drink, no debauchery in gambling, and admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie. These, Tiger Paw, are the four qualities that lead to a layperson's happiness and well-being in this life. There are these four qualities that lead to a layperson's happiness and well-being in lives to come. Which four? Being consummate in conviction, being consummate in virtue, being consummate in generosity, and being consummate in discernment. And what does it mean to be consummate in conviction? There is the case where a disciple of the noble ones has conviction and is convinced of the Tathagata's awakening. Indeed, the Blessed One is worthy and rightly self-awakened, consummate in knowledge and conduct, well gone, an expert with regard to the world, unexcelled as a trainer for those people fit to be tamed, the teacher of divine and human beings, awakened, blessed. This is called being consummate in conviction. And what does it mean to be consummate in virtue? There is the case where a disciple of the noble ones abstains from taking life, abstains from stealing, abstains from illicit sexual conduct, abstains from lying, and abstains from taking intoxicants that cause heedlessness. This is called being consummate in virtue. And what does it mean to be consummate in generosity? There is the case of a disciple of the noble ones, whose awareness is cleansed of the stain of miserliness, living at home, freely generous, open-handed, delighting in being magnanimous, responsive to requests, and delighting in the distribution of alms. This is called being consummate in generosity. And what does it mean to be consummate in discernment? There is the case where a disciple of the noble ones is discerning, endowed with discernment of arising and passing away, noble, penetrating, leading to the right ending of stress. This is called being consummate in discernment. These, Tiger Paw, are the four qualities that lead to a layperson's happiness and well-being in lives to come. And 8.54. The Buddha and Monks. I have heard that on one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling among the Sakyans at Kapilavatthu in the Great Wood, together with a large sangha of approximately 500 bhikkhus, all of them arahants. DN 20. The Buddha and Lepers. Then the Blessed One, having encompassed the awareness of the entire assembly with his awareness, asked himself, "Now who here is capable of understanding the Dhamma?" He saw Supabuddha the leper sitting in the assembly, and on seeing him, the thought occurred to him, "This person here is capable of understanding the Dhamma." So, aiming at Supabuddha the leper, he gave a step-by-step talk, that is, a talk on generosity, on virtue, on heaven. He declared the drawbacks, degradation, and corruption of sensual passions, and the rewards of renunciation. Then when he saw that Supabuddha the leper's mind was ready, malleable, free from hindrances, elated and bright. He gave the Dhamma talk peculiar to awakened ones, that is, stress, origination, cessation, and path. And just as a clean cloth, free of stains, would properly absorb a dye, in the same way, as Supa Buddha the leper was sitting in that very seat, the dustless, stainless Dhamma eye arose within him. Whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation. UD 5.3. The Buddha and Kings. Then King Pasenadi Kosala approached the Blessed One in the middle of the day and, on arrival, having bowed down, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, the Blessed One said to him, "Well now, great king, where are you coming from in the middle of the day?" "Just now, Lord, I was engaged in the sort of royal affairs typical of head-anointed noble warrior kings intoxicated with the intoxication of sovereignty, obsessed by greed for sensual pleasures, who have attained stable control in their country, and who rule having conquered a great sphere of territory on earth. What do you think, great king? Suppose a man, trustworthy and reliable, were to come to you from the east and on arrival would say, 'If it please your majesty, you should know that I come from the east. There I saw a great mountain, as high as the clouds, coming this way, crushing all living beings in its path. Do whatever you think should be done.' Then a second man were to come to you from the west. Then a third man were to come to you from the north. Then a fourth man were to come to you from the south, and on arrival would say, 'If it please your majesty, you should know that I come from the south. There I saw a great mountain, as high as the clouds, coming this way, crushing all living beings. Do whatever you think should be done. If, your majesty, such a great peril should arise, such a terrible destruction of human life, the human state being so hard to obtain, what should be done? If, Lord, such a great peril should arise, such a terrible destruction of human life, the human state being so hard to obtain, what else should be done but Dhamma conduct, right conduct, skillful deeds, meritorious deeds? I inform you, great king, I announce to you, great king, aging and death are rolling in on you. When aging and death are rolling in on you, great king, what should be done? As aging and death are rolling in on me, Lord, what else should be done but Dhamma conduct, right conduct, skillful deeds, meritorious deeds? So it is, great king. So it is, great king. As aging and death are rolling in on you, what else should be done but Dhamma conduct, right conduct, skillful deeds, meritorious deeds? SN 3.25. The Buddha and Outcasts. In a lowly family I was born, poor with next to no food. My work was degrading. I gathered the spoiled, the withered flowers from shrines, and threw them away. People found me disgusting, despised me, disparaged me. Lowering my heart, I showed reverence to many. Then I saw the One Self awakened, arrayed with a squadron of monks, the great hero entering the city, supreme of the Magadhans. Throwing down my carrying pole, I approached him to do reverence. He, the supreme man, stood still, out of sympathy, just for me. After paying homage to the feet of the teacher, I stood to one side and requested the going forth from him, supreme among all living beings. The compassionate teacher, sympathetic to all the world, said, "Come, monk." That was my formal acceptance. Alone I stayed in the wilds, untiring. I followed the teacher's words, just as he, the conqueror, had taught me. In the first watch of the night, I recollected previous lives. In the middle watch, purified the divine eye. In the last, burst the mass of darkness. Then, as night was ending, and the sun returning, Indra and Brahma came to pay homage to me, hands palm to palm at their hearts. Homage to you, O thoroughbred of men, Homage to you, O man supreme, whose fermentations are ended. You, dear sir, are worthy of offerings. Thag 12.2. The Buddha and seekers from other spiritual traditions. Then Puna, a son of the Kalayans and an ox-duty ascetic, and also Saniya, a naked dog-duty ascetic, went to the Blessed One. Puna, the ox-duty ascetic, paid homage to the Blessed One and sat down at one side, while Saniya, the naked dog-duty ascetic, exchanged greetings with the Blessed One. When the courteous and amiable talk was finished, he too sat down at one side, curled up like a dog. When Puna, the ox-duty ascetic, sat down, he asked the Blessed One, "Venerable Sir, this naked dog-duty ascetic Saniya does what is hard to do. He eats his food when it is thrown on the ground. That dog duty has long been taken up and practiced by him. What will be his destination? What will be his future course?" "Enough, Puna, let that be. Do not ask me that." A second time. A third time, Puna the ox-duty ascetic asked the Blessed One, "Venerable Sir, this naked dog-duty ascetic Saniya does what is hard to do. He eats his food when it is thrown on the ground. That dog duty has long been taken up and practiced by him. What will be his destination? What will be his future course?" "Well, Puna, since I certainly cannot persuade you when I say, 'Enough, Puna, let that be.' Do not ask me that. I shall therefore answer you. Here, Puna, someone develops the dog duty fully and unstintingly. He develops the dog habit fully and unstintingly. He develops the dog mind fully and unstintingly. He develops dog behavior fully and unstintingly. Having done that on the dissolution of the body, after death, he reappears in the company of dogs. But if his view is such as this, by this virtue or duty or asceticism or religious life, I shall become a great God or some lesser God. That is wrong view in his case. Now there are two destinations for one with wrong view, I say, hell or the animal womb. So Puna, if his dog duty is perfected, it will lead him to the company of dogs. If it is not, it will lead him to hell. MN 57. The Buddha and heavenly beings. Many hundred assemblies of gods of the heaven of the 4 great kings, many hundred assemblies of gods of the heaven of the 33, many hundred assemblies of Mara's retinue, many hundred assemblies of Brahmas. And formerly I had sat with them there and talked with them and held conversations with them. MN 12. The Buddha teaches his family, including his son Rahula, renouncing the 5 pleasures of sense that entrance and delight the mind, and in faith departing from home, become one who makes an end of suffering. Associate with good friends and choose a remote lodging secluded with little noise. Be moderate in eating, robes, alms food, remedies, and a dwelling. Do not have craving for these things. Do not be one who returns to the world. Practice restraint according to the discipline and control the 5 sense faculties. Practice mindfulness of the body and continually develop dispassion towards it. Avoid the sign of the beautiful connected with passion. By meditating on the foul, cultivate a mind that is concentrated and collected. Meditate on the signless and get rid of the tendency to conceit. By thoroughly understanding and destroying conceit, you will live in the highest peace. In this manner, the Lord repeatedly exhorted the Venerable Rahula. SNPSQ 11. His stepmother, Mahapajapati Gotami. I have heard that at one time the Blessed One was staying at Vesali in the peaked roof hall in the great forest. Then Mahapajapati Gotami went to the Blessed One and, on arrival, having bowed down to him, stood to one side. As she was standing there, she said to him, "It would be good, Venerable Sir, if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma in brief, such that, having heard the Dhamma from the Blessed One, I might dwell alone, secluded, heedful, ardent, and resolute. Gautami, the qualities of which you may know, these qualities lead to passion, not to dispassion, to being fettered, not to being unfettered, to accumulating, not to shedding, to self-aggrandizement, not to modesty, to discontent, not to contentment, to entanglement, not to seclusion, to laziness, not to aroused persistence, to being burdensome, not to being unburdensome. You may categorically hold, this is not the Dhamma, this is not the Vinaya, this is not the teacher's instruction. As for the qualities of which you may know, these qualities lead to dispassion, not to passion, to being unfettered, not to being fettered, to shedding, not to accumulating, to modesty, not to self-aggrandizement, to contentment, not to discontent, to seclusion, not to entanglement, to aroused persistence, not to laziness, to being unburdensome, not to being burdensome. You may categorically hold, this is the Dhamma, this is the Vinaya, this is the teacher's instruction. That is what the Blessed One said. Gratified, Mahapajapati Gautami delighted at his words. And 8.53. And he guides his brother Nanda to arahantship. I have heard that on one occasion the Blessed One was staying near Savatthi, in Jeddah's grove, Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time Nanda, the Blessed One's brother, son of his maternal aunt, told a large number of monks, I don't enjoy leading the holy life, my friends. I can't endure the holy life. Giving up the training, I will return to the common life. Then a certain monk went to the Blessed One, and, on arrival, having bowed down to him, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, he told the Blessed One, Lord, Nanda, the Blessed One's brother, son of his maternal aunt, has told a large number of monks, I don't enjoy leading the holy life, my friends. I can't endure the holy life. Giving up the training, I will return to the common life. Memni. Then the Blessed One told a certain monk, Come, monk, in my name call Nanda, saying, The teacher calls you, my friend. As you say, Lord, the monk answered, and having gone to Ven. Nanda, on arrival, he said, The teacher calls you, my friend. As you say, my friend, Nanda replied. Then he went to the Blessed One, and on arrival, having bowed down to him, sat to one side. As he was sitting there, the Blessed One said to him, Is it true, Nanda, that you have told a large number of monks, I don't enjoy leading the holy life, my friends. I can't endure the holy life. Giving up the training, I will return to the common life. Yes, Lord. But why, Nanda? Don't you enjoy leading the holy life? Lord, as I was leaving home, a Sakyan girl, the envy of the countryside, glanced up at me with her hair half-combed and said, Hurry back, master. Recollecting that, I don't enjoy leading the holy life. I can't endure the holy life. Giving up the training, I will return to the common life. Then, taking Nanda by the arm, as a strong man might flex his extended arm or extend his flexed arm, the Blessed One disappeared from Jeddah's grove and reappeared among the devas of the Tavatimsa heaven. Now at that time about 500 dove-footed nymphs had come to wait upon Saka, the ruler of the devas. And the Blessed One said to Nanda, Nanda, do you see those 500 dove-footed nymphs? Yes, Lord. What do you think, Nanda? Which is lovelier, better looking, more charming, the Sakyan girl, the envy of the countryside, or these 500 dove-footed nymphs? Lord, compared to these 500 dove-footed nymphs, the Sakyan girl, the envy of the countryside, is like a cauterized monkey with its ears and nose cut off. She doesn't count. She's not even a small fraction. There's no comparison. The 500 dove-footed nymphs are lovelier, better looking, more charming. Then take joy, Nanda, Take joy. I am your guarantee for getting 500 dove-footed nymphs. If the Blessed One is my guarantee for getting 500 dove-footed nymphs, I will enjoy leading the holy life under the Blessed One. Then, taking Ven Nanda by the arm, as a strong man might flex his extended arm or extend his flexed arm, the Blessed One disappeared from among the divas of the Tavatimsa heaven and reappeared in Jeta's grove. The monks heard. They say that Ven Nanda, the Blessed One's brother, son of his maternal aunt, is leading the holy life for the sake of nymphs. They say that the Blessed One is his guarantee for getting 500 dove-footed nymphs. Then the monks who were friends of Ven Nanda went around addressing him as they would a hired hand and a dealer. Our friend Nanda, they say, is a hired hand. Our friend Nanda, they say, is a dealer. He's leading the holy life for the sake of nymphs. The Blessed One is his guarantee for getting 500 dove-footed nymphs. Then Ven Nanda, humiliated, ashamed, and disgusted that the monks who were his friends were addressing him as they would a hired hand and a dealer, went to dwell alone, secluded, heedful, ardent, and resolute. He in no long time entered and remained in the supreme goal of the holy life for which clansmen rightly go forth from home into homelessness, knowing and realizing it for himself in the here and now. He knew. Birth is ended, the holy life fulfilled, the task done. There is nothing further for the sake of this world. And thus, Ven Nanda became another one of the Arahants. UD 3.2